could almost see it like being like a formula where like you know how like they fall in love with the jumper a little bit too much. Like
That's
they
another
fall
thing
in love with the
I was
three
gonna
a
say
lot.
too, because they're gonna have probably at least 2 games when they shoot lights out. Like I'm talking classic Spurs, classic Warriors when they just rout them and there's nothing that they can do. Because Kyrie and Luka, what gonna give you what 60, 70 a
60,
night?
yeah.
Where the hell they gonna come from? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be nights. They probably gonna have 2 crazy shooting nights, but them nights where they not hitting that three.
Jaden Hardy gonna come. I'm telling y'all,
Yeah,
Jaden
no.
Hardy is like their Peyton Pritchard, except I think he's better.
And that's what I was saying. Like on the opposite side of like where I feel like Dallas can get a plus performer, it seems like they've gotten it
In
from a
every
different
series.
player in
Every
a different
series.
series. And
I
I
feel
feel
like
that
PJ
is,
gonna have to be that third guy though. I think in
Yeah.
this series.
what like you know what could be crazy too. And I don't know y'all because I think you said you don't think too much of him, but like Tim Hardaway,
I was gonna say that too. This might be a Tim Hardaway series.
like
I would hope.
I mean, I
and
just
Dallas
know-
low key has more depth than them. Like we got
Yes,
the
That's not
Celtics have
even
the
low-key.
Celtics have
Yeah.
the star power, but Dallas
Celtics
got
have a
bodies.
terrible
and
bench.
they can
Yeah.
like pull it out of like anywhere, and sometimes that's where it happens. Sometimes like you'll just get a shot in the arm of offense from someone that can win you a game here and
So
there. And
you-
I feel like they have more pieces that can do that for them. Type
Tim
shit.
Hardaway Jr. is just so tough though because I think for sure I know what I said was that he's like a poor man's J.R. Smith.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember
yes,
that. Yep.
yeah.
He can either be the thing that swings the game for you, or he can get you blown out.
Shoot-
You know, like
shooting
because
too
he's
much.
just hitting the side of the rim or not or airball.
His defense kind of
he
averaging, like you
doesn't
said.
have
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of his missed shots go into transition buckets.
He's played himself out of his role. Like if he
Yeah.
had done, and at least decently, because they kept trying. I was seeing
Yeah.
him. He would play like 5 minutes, and then he would play so poorly. It's like, well, I'm not putting you back in the game.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I would hope so, but it also just goes to show how many, like you're saying, X factors I think they do have. And I think that is going to be. You say PJ actually, because I know one of your things is like the X factors. I think that PJ is going to be the X factor for the Mavs in this series. I think like those other role players are important, but I think if PJ Washington plays how he did in the OKC series,
series,
he plays like that,
19 and
then I
6.
think that makes it. I think the Mavericks clearly win at that point.
Absolutely. Who's your X factor?
I was gonna say PJ as well.
Okay,
I'll
mine.
say Dark.
So we all agree consensus. Dallas is PJ, and then Boston for me is Porzingis. I feel like if he just plays like regular season, Porzingis puts up those numbers, they should win.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, if Boston's going to win this series, I think the X factor has to be Derek White. Like I feel like he has to be in like north of 18 points per game.
And like I said too before, like I know people like to knock Tatum a lot with his body of work, his shortcomings. Forget he's still young as well too, and other greats than Jason Tatum.
Oh, okay.
Didn't win till a later part in their career, but there's no excuses. And in saying that, he can get a little fidgety when it's close. But like I said earlier, their team as a unit, they all can close. Like it really just comes down to the matchup.
Yeah,
I seen Drew Holiday make pivotal stops defensively. I've seen Derek White make a pivotal corner three. I've seen Jason Tatum crazy momentum shifter behind the back to Al Horford to splash. Jaylen Brown, all of them. I trust that team as a unit to close.
I think for me, my X factors on the Celtics are I had.
So you got more than one?
Yeah, I had Drew or Porzingis.
Okay.
Because like you're kind of saying, like if I think it's a little bit more than regular season level. I think if he has a good series, then that completely shifts the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
You can't really, like that's you can't plan for that. I think that, and then also I said Drew because I think you said it, but I think that Derek White is gonna basically do that. I think that he's penciled in. He's really been consistent and at least getting you kind of like 15 or in that mid-teens that range. But I think Drew is such a wild card because his defense is gonna be there, and his offense up to this point in the playoffs has been really good.
Yeah.
But, and this is just another history thing. Historically, his offensive percentages in the playoffs have not been good.
What is his percentages in the finals? Because I don't remember his percentages, but I just remember a lot of game-defining moments and clutch shots from him against the Suns.
I know for sure. Like it was a lot of defensive stuff, and he had a couple of good shots, but his numbers are in like the 30s.
Yeah,
they're not good. Mm-hmm. But that just being said, that I think there's a possibility he could revert back to that. But I think that if he plays at the level that he's offensively playing right now, then I think that would be an X factor for the Celtics as well.
No, for sure. And I'm thinking with Drew Holiday, since you already know the Celtics are going to switch on everything, I think primarily I would probably put, because what I saw for that second game when they played each other, I saw Jaylen Brown start on Luka. I'll probably have Drew Holiday either start on Kyrie or maybe start him on Derrick Jones Jr. and just be that roamer as well too. Because if I'm Joe Mazzulla, I'm like, we're gonna either play 1-on-1 or we just gonna try to see if your role players can basically reproduce what they did against OKC and beat us. We'll live with that. So I'm curious on who's gonna match up with who.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always the most exciting thing about Game 1 to me is like seeing what the game plans are from both teams. So
I will say this too. I think that the Mavs already played the best player that they're gonna play in the playoffs. I think that was Shea.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna talk about this later podcast. My top 5 players right now, no order: Luka, Joker, Embiid, Giannis, and Shea. Those are my top 5 right now.
I think I just can't put Embiid in those conversations because you have to, like, just like with some of the other greats, like when you factor in injuries and stuff like that, and he's never been able to like really do it in the playoffs. I can't put him there. Yeah. But like I feel it. I understand him being in there, and overall, I feel that list. I think I might just replace him.
Whoa! Don't say Steph.
No.
Not Ant yet. I'll tell you this: if Tatum,
maybe Tatum though.
If I was gonna say this, and we're gonna say it later. If Tatum wins the chip, I'll stamp him in the top 5.
Oh, did you say Giannis?
I say Giannis.
Okay.
I say Giannis, Embiid, Shea, Luka, and Joker.
Okay.
Yeah. But